obviously they have talent. That's why they're getting paid what they're paid. One of the things that I kind of try to tell myself in looking at like, these guys who went cold, yeah, it's one of those, they are the best at what they do, but you figure they're like the top 1% of the 1% that make it to the major leagues. So it's, yeah, you pay them to do well, but at the same time, like it's such a small group of people that it's tough. It's tough to say that, yeah, they're going to be consistent and winners all the time. But that's kind of sort of my coping mechanism for getting through this right now. But yeah, the window's open. If they can change some management or change some management philosophy with Rob Thomson, keep him around as long as they can change the way he's doing things, or he's going to be on a much shorter leash if he stays, for sure. Certainly if they have a rough start to the season, he'll go the way of the dodo very quickly. But I think they've got to get rid of the, certainly like hitting coaches and unfortunately Dusty's got to go at third base, and with the base running, like there's just been some gaffes where really they could have, instead of, they probably could have been closer to a 100-win team this year. Certainly, during the regular season. And I think they could, have done better in the playoffs if you get a hitting coach who can get these guys through a bye and not have them cold. I was always saying I like the idea of doing the scrimmage game because I always said they should do something like that during a bye week, and I'm glad they did. My idea was to bring it to Lehigh Valley and have them play, have the starters play the Iron Pigs, for a charity game for the, I know they'd sell it out. Well, yeah, they sold 30-some thousand tickets to the scrimmage game. So yeah, they would easily sell out a place like Lehigh Valley. Especially go on the road to that stadium and play a game. Maybe that kind of gets them back in a rhythm, but at least that was a step in the right direction. I'm glad they did that. I think they need to do maybe something a little more serious, maybe open the whole stadium. I mean, get a real feel for the crowd. I know it's a scrimmage and it's not the same as a game, but try and instill that, hey, you're prepping for this, but
yeah. My
I don't know. What do you think?
My dad said for years, when you have time off, that why not bring up some of the minor leaguers and have them pitch to them, because there's no substitute for the game experience, and these guys are used to playing almost every day for 162 games a year. That's 6 months where they very rarely have a day off except for the All-Star break.
Right, and then
it does,
and they're going for how much in spring training?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I didn't even think about the spring training, but you're absolutely right. So it's more like 7.5, 8 months. So I don't know. I hate the bye. I liked it when they used to have the 1 game wild card. Now, at the same time, you're not going to go to MLB and say, hey, we, despite winning the NL East, we don't want the bye, make us play, make us, don't give us the free pass to the NLDS. That's not going to happen either.
Yeah, no, it's not. And, and I get it because it's a revenue generator to have a 3-game series rather than a 1-game. That's all part of it too, obviously. But the other thing too with the minor leaguers is a lot of them will go and play in like the Japan League or Mexican League or any of these other world leagues through the winter as well. I don't know how many, without doing any kind of research, how many from the Iron Pigs went and boarded a plane, but there's got to be enough around that, they could have put something together. In my opinion, that they could have put something together. I mean, you can't tell me that some of these guys who are, 35 years old that are career minor leaguers, or even just do an invite, just to throw an open invite out. Hey, come out. We'll pay you whatever to get here, and we'll give you, $5,000 stipend or whatever to play a scrimmage game for us and keep our guys warm.
Yeah. So, and a lot of that's on general management, but it ultimately falls on Rob Thomson to keep these guys engaged, to keep them ready.
Yes, absolutely.
So Thomson, he's made some interesting decisions as Phillies manager. Bryson Stott's bunt in game 2, while Castellanos, who moves like molasses, was on second, was one of those. Yeah. He didn't do Kerkering any favors in game 4, bringing him in that situation. To his credit, Thomson has had the team in the postseason every year he's been the skipper.
Yes.
Obviously, that's not good enough. That's not good enough for this fan base. We don't want just NL East titles. We want World Series titles. We've only gotten 2 of those. The team has been around since 1883. I've only been alive for one of them. So I was
barely alive for the first one.
Yeah, so. Right. So I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence in Thomson getting the Phils back to that point. He did get them to Game 6 of the Fall Classic in 2022. So I know you've discussed what you hope happens, but what do you think is going to happen? So taking personal feelings aside, what do you think that he's going to be back? Do you think that you mentioned that he'd be on a much shorter leash. Do you think that's what happens? They just bring him back and, if they go into a slump early, sayonara?
Yeah, I think ideally that's probably what's going to happen, because I think Dombrowski is looking at everything as a whole and like, okay, I've got, 2/3, 3/4, whatever arbitrary number you want to put at it of everything I need to get a title. And a key part of that is a steady manager. And I think he stays, but I think the rest of the coaching staff goes. Like you said, he's done quite a bit. There's not a lot of teams that can say that they've been in the postseason 4 years in a row. There's not a lot of teams that can say that they're averaging 90 wins a year for 4 years in a row. There's not a lot of teams that say that they've got a starting rotation with an ERA, around 3. There's a lot of stuff there there's a lot of stuff there that is good and a good base. Like you said, the other 25 or 30%, whatever it is, to finish the deal hasn't happened yet. What do I think happens? Rob stays, but he's got a short leash.